This is the Stories from the Field podcast, a Delaware Farm Bureau production, sharing real stories from local farmers while educating the public on the agriculture industry. Thank you guys for joining us on the Stories from the Field podcast. I am Macy Carter. I am a co-chair of the Delaware Farm Bureau Promotion and Education Committee. So we have a really special guest. Featured on this episode is Chris Sylvester, owner of Spectrum Farms, which is a specialty cut flower farm located in Felton, Delaware. Their farm features U-cut experiences, offers special evening summer workshops. They also have an online store where you can purchase fresh flower bouquets and even an online subscription to cut flowers if you are an avid flower buyer. You can visit them at various farmers markets throughout the season as well. All right, thanks for joining us, Chris.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming out to the farm today.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
It's beautiful. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started your flower farm.
Sure. So, well, thank you for the introduction. I'm, excited to have you here and be able to share our story a little bit. I'm Chris, my wife's Ashley, so we're the owners of Spectrum Farms. So I guess right out from the beginning, why Spectrum Farms? So my parents had a tree nursery here in the late 80s, early 90s. And then when they named all the roads, they named the road after their farm, Spectrum Farms. And so when we decided to start the flower farm, we figured we'd pay homage to that and name it Spectrum Farms. So at least that's the background of the name. But we thought it was still appropriate because of the spectrum of colors that we get with the flowers, just the amount of varieties we grow. And that range of flower makes us a specialty cut flower farm. It's not just that we're growing one flower or two flowers or some of the top three, but that we have over like 20 varieties here that we're growing. So it's what makes us a specialty cut flower farm. It's not just that we're growing one flower. We're not only growing those for us to sell to florists wholesale or at our farmers markets or to use in our arrangements, but as you said, we have U-cuts, and folks that come out to visit us for the U-cuts actually have access to those same amount of varieties that we're using.
That's great. And how long have you had your farm?
So we started farming sort of as a hobby farm, if you will, about 5 years ago. And we started the same year that the Frederica Farmers Market had started. So it aligned well. We were just hoping to grow enough flowers to try to sell at a farm stand, and then we found ourselves going to a full season at the title market in Frederica, Delaware. So that was a really neat beginning, and since then we've continued to expand every single year, and this is my third full-time year on the farm, so it's been neat to leave my experience previously as an engineer and to really enter the agriculture world full-time. Always been surrounded by it. My grandfather was a dairy farmer across the road, grain farmer on this property. My brother grain farms now. So I've always seen it, but it's neat to now have my own hands in it with the flowers.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, growing up in agriculture, you always knew you probably wanted to work with your hands. And what kind of made you be inspired to choose the cut flower field?
Yeah, absolutely. Ashley was the one that was drawn to the flowers. I love flowers too, but it was we were looking at the property. As I said, last year this field was in soybeans, and it would have been rotated to corn. So we were sitting in a soybean field that is now a cut flower field. But as we've explained out front, but the flowers provided a creative outlet, I think. So not only growing something as a commodity, but growing something that you have the chance to work with, to create things with. That was sort of my draw to it. So it just fit well. As I said, we had the land, the property, our home. It's where I grew up. And as we were commuting to our then jobs, we felt like, why don't we put our land to use? We just felt that calling, that pull. And so with Ashley's love of flowers, my excitement about the creativity that came with growing something like flowers, and then putting our land to use, it kind of just blended, that and wanting to do something entrepreneurial as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a great story. And I definitely think that everyone loves flowers. It's something that you can come out here and enjoy cutting them, taking them home, putting them on your kitchen table. So I think it's just something that spreads joy, which I know you guys love to do.
Absolutely. We always kind of reference that when we're sending flowers out into the community one way or the other, through all the different sales outlets we do. and supporting like our school district. Sometimes when we've had surpluses, we've provided things to like the school and teachers appreciation. But yeah, spreading joy with flowers is kind of our mantra around here. And just love seeing the different age ranges and groups that have come out, that we see shopping in our markets and visiting us. It's not isolated to just one population group. It crosses the board. So it's definitely something intrinsic, the beauty of flowers and seeing the joy it brings to people.
Yes, it's so beautiful just sitting out here and looking at them. Now, would you say, the best time of year to visit you? Obviously, flowers are not in bloom all the time. What's your like peak season?
We're sitting literally in peak season, I'd say. While July and the heat, is maybe not our favorite time to be working in the fields, there's definitely a majority of blooms and just a wide range of blooms that we can have in the summer. So it's definitely our peak. But there's so much excitement with spring flowers. Everybody's coming out of winter. It's been cold. They want to cheer themselves up. They want to bring the outdoors inside as quickly as possible, or just get outside and enjoy the flowers too. So I'd say spring flowers are like the most in demand, it seems. And we do grow those like ranunculus, anemone. We do tulips and peonies. So we try to grow a lot of those spring statement flowers. We also grow a range of like hardy annuals, so references like cool flowers. So those are ones that you actually would plant like end of summer, beginning of fall. They get established and then go dormant through the winter as long as they're hardy enough for our zone. And then we actually have those spring blooms. So with the success of our U-cut field this year, we're actually looking to establish some spring U-cuts too. So we're hoping to take that excitement of spring flowers, offering our statement flowers still, but then also expanding the U-cut and being able to like allow folks to come out for spring when there's so much excitement. We had so many photographers ask if they could come out. It was just amazing. So
That's great. That's such a neat idea. Yeah, and when the weather's still cool and they can maybe enjoy it a little bit coming out and cutting. That's a great idea. Now, you kind of touched on this just now, but what are some of the flower varieties that you grow, or what do you find that is in the most demand with your customers?
I think there's always every micro season throughout the year that we can grow in Delaware, there's always some sort of statement flower. So I kind of mentioned some of the spring statement flowers we grow. Some of the earliest being tulips, then into anemone and ranunculus, eventually peonies. Then we kind of enter when our tender annuals can start to bloom and grow. But there's still those statement flowers that people get excited about when we're able to offer like Lysianthus in the summer. Those are always stunners. They have great vase life. And then late summer you enter dahlia season. So all the statement flowers always bring a lot of excitement. But when I watch folks and what they choose to cut out here, they just go for beautiful bright flowers. So we have like over 10 varieties of zinnias out here. So that's such a classic thing. Home gardeners have them. You see them at other U-cuts. Our friends that are vegetable growers, at markets, they're bringing their zinnias too that they had for pollinators. So they're definitely in surplus, but they still attract like, I think, the range of people, just the amount of color they offer. So
Yeah, that's great. I definitely love the zinnias behind us, and they're so bright and so beautiful. I can see why people want to cut them first, or they're drawn to them right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I was able to check out your website and some of your social media before. How has social media or your online presence really played a role in your business?
It's Once again, I think being an entrepreneur, small business owner and farmer, I think we find joy in that element of being able to be creative. So, the beauty of flowers and being able to take photos of those, and then on platforms like Instagram, that's always been something we've enjoyed doing. Obviously, building up a social media presence has been helpful to try to get out as we've grown our business. Offering new things each year. It's one thing to hand out like a push card or something at a farmer's market, or to talk to folks that are coming by your booth at a farmer's market. But to have social media presence, it allows just a lot more access to the community. And our goal is to get our flowers out into the community, or have folks come enjoy this sort of taste of agritourism here, our little niche of specialty cut flowers. So it definitely helps. and as I said, it's enjoyable for the most part. I think that obviously that you never know what people are seeing though. So you get that insight feedback. Oh, look at this, it had so many likes. But we still always have people being like, I didn't know there was a flower farm outside Felton, Delaware. I didn't know that you guys existed. And that's when we went to the Wyoming Farmers Market last year. Great farmers market, and people were coming through like, oh, you're there? You're like 20 minutes from us. And it's like, yeah, we're right out there. So we do our best with social media. Word of mouth is always great too, and just any sort of opportunity to kind of to share about us. So like you guys coming out today is awesome. So
Yeah, so we're excited to definitely, promote your business as well. And it's crazy how you can go out so much and be so present, and still there's like a niche amount of people that don't know where you are or know
absolutely.
that you exist. So just getting the word out is great. And I definitely enjoy looking at your website. Is there a certain, aspect of your business that does the best? Is it the cut flower, the subscription, or the bouquets? You have a lot, it looks like you have a lot of creative ideas going on.
Yeah, great question. And it's kind of changed. So or as we've grown our farm from like under a half acre to what we'll be able to maximize transitioning from this summer through next spring, will be over 5 acres in flowers. Obviously, we have nice wide open paths here to be able to use it for production, but also to have folks visit. It's changed where our largest market presence is. We're still holding on to some of our favorite farmers markets. We're here with Beach Farmers Market and Sea Colony. They've been great for us. They're down at the beach. It's fun to be down there. We have a nice range of folks that live there year round, plus those that come in seasonally. So it's just exciting. That stayed strong for our summer months. But we've really done a big push into wholesale. So we've tried to reach out to more florists and as well as like groceries. We go to like the fresh market Rehoboth Beach. So it's neat to see our product in like an actual grocery store where folks are coming in and excited to see local product there. It's not this struggle or this push to educate on it. So that's been a neat new outlet that's really starting to take off as the wholesale. We actually run a flower collective too. So we manage that at Spectrum Farms, but what it allows us to do is have a little bit more selling power. So we're able to go into a florist shop and have a little more confidence saying, hey, we have local flowers, we'd like to sell them to you. And before we started growing as much as we have, a lot of growers in Delaware, they're newer to flowers, and so they grow on a smaller scale. So it helps us to be able to walk into that florist shop with a little more confidence and say, hey, we'll be able to consistently provide you with flowers. They're going to change throughout the season, which is the beauty of local flowers, but they're going to be fresh, locally grown, supporting small businesses. So that's definitely been exciting.
Yeah, I didn't even know that aspect of your business. That's super exciting and
Yeah.
definitely something that you can, target to your market is these are locally grown. People want that in their flowers too. So that's great. So I know we've talked a lot about your business, how it's grown, where you are now, and I think you touched on it just recently, but what are your plans to grow in the future?
Absolutely. I think I referenced our scaling up and the amount of acres we're growing on. And I said it's not the high density that it could be with flowers, but I think that's one of our goals is to be maximizing that acreage in flowers and being able to still fulfill the different baskets in the sense of like how we move our flowers, how we get them into the community. So some of the will be for wholesale. Some will be more set up for agritourism. We'd love to continue to see people come out here to visit the flowers. It's something we're excited about. We do so much work here. It's so beautiful. And everybody always asks if they can come visit. So we're finally kind of getting to that point. So we hope to see that growth. With that, kind of working our way into it, offering more like special events, always surrounding the flowers. Right now we do things like art workshops focused on flowers. So we feel like that connection, that creative connection is really neat. It kind of makes sense to us. We're offering some like evening dinner U-cuts to make something special. Our other U-cuts are in the morning to try to dodge the heat of the summer. And we've done things like wreath workshops. We just hope to have a more increased schedule in the future, perhaps with the agritourism offerings, as we continue to also reach out to more florists. An interesting fact about cut flowers, specialty cut flowers, that 80% historically have been imported into the United States since like the 1980s. So that leaves 20% of the market here for local grown, and it would be neat to continue to educate those that are buying wholesale, as I said, the florists, the market stores, and saying, hey, there are local growers that are continuing to increase their production. And there's great flowers that help sell that too, ones that don't ship well. But yeah, so just looking to, even in our small state of Delaware, start to capture more of that market with a local product, which I think follows that trend of farm to table, field to vase.
Right. That's so exciting. Yeah, I did not know that fact. And I think, as you do more education and people realize there are the local flowers that they can purchase, they'll want to support that and
Yeah,
they'll want to
absolutely.
definitely help and visit the farm as well. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
appreciate you letting us visit Spectrum Farms. It's beautiful. I love the
Yeah,
flowers, and we really hope that the Delaware Farm Bureau can work with you in the future and help
absolutely.
promote and be a part of your journey.
Yeah, great. Well, I
Awesome.
appreciate your time coming out today, being able to share the flowers before
Mhm.
we wrap up July here. So it's exciting. Just looking forward to seeing where it all goes and followers and just building
Yeah,
that community. So community of flowers in the strong agricultural community that already exists too. So
that's great. I
yeah.
do have one more
Yeah.
question. It's a fun one.
Okay.
So, if you were a flower, which flower would you be and why?
All right. So, yeah, Lysianthus was a flower that we included in our own wedding. Not that we grew it then, but so I've always had a place in my heart for Lysianthus. But since growing flowers, there's one that I think because it's a spring statement flower has become the best. It's known as the Rose of Spring, and it's ranunculus, which is number one fun to say, and we always run around saying the ranunculus is redunculus. But it's a beautiful double flower. It's really such a statement flower, and it's one of the first that come in the spring, so it's kind of welcome spring, and it's just exciting. So if I was going to choose one, I would choose that. Um, but man, I could come up with a top three easy, So we'll leave it at that. But
That's great. That's great. Thank you for answering that, and thank you for having us. I really
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming out.